Knock knock. Who's there? The patch 14.14 review. Oh yeah! Wait, it's patch 14.4. The patch 14.4 review. Oh yeah, baby! So first things first, I just want to congratulate myself on hitting fucking Grandmasters and 200 ping NA. Yeah, it's my own accomplishment. I'll give myself a pat on the back for it. Yeah! That's something I've been trying to do for the past year or two, and I finally got it now. And you might be thinking, damn, how'd you do it? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, no, you didn't ask, but I'm glad you glassed, you know? And the answer to that is, I just got good. And I got good by abusing the hell out of the Yorick buffs and scooted my way into Grandmasters. I'm going to talk about the buffs that happened to Yorick last patch a bit more in detail and how they've affected him. Now that I got 2 weeks to test them out and some community builds and setups I've tried and tested, and there have also been new builds that have come out as well, I can tell you guys what I did in the Grandmaster climb because all this information is fresh as hell. And I'm going to talk about how patch 14.4 will change Yorick as well. So first, let's have a refresher on the buffs real quick. Ghouls and Maiden return to Yorick faster, Q gives more healing through the addition of the % missing health, E cast time is faster by around 25%, and Maiden deals slightly less damage with the Maiden procs, but the Maiden procs no longer have a cooldown. These buffs pretty much buff every element of Yorick, both Lethality and Bruiser. And although I thought Bruiser's Yorick be a lot stronger, and it really is, especially in lower elos, Lethality Yorick actually came out a lot stronger overall. I mean, Lethality Yorick was already better among the two before. E changes made it so that your E is practically undodgeable if Yorick's good, and now there's nothing you can do to stop the Lethality ghouls from mauling you. I really can't express how big this change is, because now you can access so many different angles, get new kill angles, and it changes so that the engage is inevitable rather than previously where if the enemy was sentient, there's nothing you can really do. Another thing that makes the Lethality Yorick better is the unintended bug of ghouls. I explained it and demonstrated it in a lot of recent videos on my main channel, but basically what Riot did was made it so that if ghouls and Maiden are far away from Yorick, they return to Yorick faster, running up to 900 moon speed. But they didn't consider that when they're in return mode to Yorick and they see an enemy, they'll end up running at 900 moon speed towards the enemy, which makes them literally inescapable. So now you can have scenarios where you toss E the enemy and you attempt to run away, and those ghouls will run even faster at the enemy and it can get you some pretty nasty kills. Full Lethality ghouls running at 900 moon speed, each doing 200 damage. It's just a little bit strong, Now, of course, we can't talk about Yorick without talking about the Bruiser Yorick. And Bruiser Yorick is really strong, and it'll actually be getting stronger with the Cleaver buffs and the Stridebreaker buffs. But there is still one fundamental issue of Bruiser Yorick that I really don't like, and it's the main reason I don't play him in higher levels of elos in Masters Plus. It's just too squishy in the current meta. Although tank and Bruiser items are pretty damn good, they don't stand a candle to major Lethality items. And therein lies the problem of Bruiser Yorick, where you can virtually only go 1 or 2 Bruiser items, then you have to go full tank, otherwise you get one shot. If you look at some of the best Yoricks in the world, you'll see them also running like a Bruiser setup, but going a lot of tank items in there. And yeah, being this beefy Juggernaut guy is solid and you do pretty decent damage while being tanky, but it's a lot less damage compared to what Lethality Yorick is capable of. And honestly, just got fucking full Lethality, you cowards! Go full Lethality, I believe in you! The change that surprised me the most in terms of practicality though, was definitely the Maiden change. Maiden procs dealing less damage seems bad on paper, but not having a cooldown early game completely changes the lane dynamics of a lot of hard matchups. And also, it changes the itemization, which rewards going tanky early game due to Maiden procs being so strong and having high DPS now. So a good example is, very commonly into Trinity and Aurelia now, I'll go a Warden's Mail or a Plated Steel Caps and build healthier parts of items that have damage, and I can usually just beat them in an all-out battle because Maiden just has so much damage with the Maiden procs. In fact, it's so strong that pretty much nobody in top lane can 1v1 you in a DPS war now. Even matchups like Trundle are really hard for them. You can just stat check them with Maiden damage. Now let's talk about hard matchups now. Matchups like Aurelia, Trundle, these champions that were so reliant on, I'm gonna kill all your ghouls real quickly and then I'm gonna beat you with your Maiden, I don't care. Those matchups have gotten a lot easier now, especially if you go attack speed and abuse the fact that attack speed works really well with the Maiden procs. Obviously going something like Lethal Tempo and Bulk can be a bit overkill, but it assures you never lose the 1v1. Hell, you can go Conqueror and just fool lethality into Aurelia now, and there's nothing she can do because Maiden just brutalizes her. So basically, every matchup in the game got easier because of the Maiden proc buff, but one particular class have gotten really easy now. Tanks have become so easy to kill, especially champions that love stacking armor like Malphite and Rammus, that there's nothing they can do. One game I was playing against a Malphite and I was kind of not doing the best, and I was actually getting gapped. And I was worried if I go lethality, I wouldn't even do enough damage because obviously he just stacks armor, right? But then I fought him and I melted him like butter. Holy hell, the magic damage from your E, Maiden procs, there's nothing you can do about it. So these Yorick buffs have just been gigantic. They're all so big on their own regard. And I can conclude that every change have just made him better into every scenario, catching enemies, better at sustaining, surviving, and better about the worst part about Yorick, and that's dealing with the counter matchups. I genuinely am surprised that Yorick didn't get nerfed this patch, but I am not going to complain at all. And in fact, I'm going to try to abuse the current overpowered iteration of Yorick to sneak my way into NA Challenger. Okay, now that we talked about last patch and the stuff that's kind of arose from the buffs, let's talk about Yorick right now and the new setups that have, emerged. We've all seen the classic lethality Yorick build that's meta in the current season, and the setup I ran almost every game to hit Grandmaster in NA. But there's a new rune page that I've been running alongside it to make lethality Yorick even better. And the new rune page wasn't even found by me, but a viewer who suggested it after he saw it from an EUS player, it's very high elo, M Spectrum. And that's Hail of Blades Yorick. Hail of Blades has always been a pretty powerful rune in general. It's always been abused by bot laners and champions that have auto attack enhancers. But it's always been a bit awkward in usage for Yorick because what does he really do with it? Just hits really fast? Who cares, right? But now that Maiden procs have no cooldown and Yorick has some really strong setups and items that he can go, Hail of Blades has skyrocketed in power in this patch from an untouched rune to now easily a top 3 rune on Yorick. Let's just go over why Hail of Blades is so powerful. It doesn't seem that intuitive, okay? We'll go from the start of the game. From level 1 in the early game, Hail of Blades is amazing for dishing out the really strong quick trades. You can auto Q, auto. Wait, what the hell? What's with the 4-hit combo? Aha, see. So one little thing that not many people know is that Hail of Blades gives you an extra auto attack of the attack speed if you use an auto attack resetter. Meaning if you auto Q reset, you get 4 hits of fast attacks instead of just a simple 3. Now this is a lot of damage in the early game and can really easily scare off even really strong laners level 1 to help you get priority in lane. This Hail of Blades trading power is prevalent throughout the entire laning phase, and the enemy has to be a lot more scared of your all-in threat and trading power. Now once you hit 6 is when Hail of Blades really turns on, and that's when it gets powerful, because now you can abuse the strong part without being the Maiden procs. When you go through normal Evelyn, you go for the auto Q, auto, within the span of less than 2 seconds, you can proc Maiden 4 times. Now if you exclude the damage you do with the autos and Qs, that's already 8% max health magic damage gone in literally less time than they can even react. And this kind of trait is really powerful because enemies in the early stage of the game are really squishy and they just have to run away if they take that much damage. And if they don't run away, then well, you can just kill them. 4 autos, a Q, and a bloody 8% max health damage, and the Maiden auto attacks, that's gonna hurt a lot. The extra reason of why Hail Blades is actually really good is because it scales as the game goes on, where Hail Blades gives more and more attack speed and Maiden damage increases more and more. But the actual final reason, and the biggest factor for me of why I think Hail Blades is straight up broken on Yorick, is because of his interaction with Tiamat items. A couple patches ago, Riot made a really weird change of Tiamat items like Stride Break and Profane Hydra, where the attack speed motion scales with the attack speed of your champion. Now do you see where I'm going with this? If you run a Hail Blades and auto, you get an insane amount of attack speed, which synergizes with not only your next Q, but Profane Hydra insanely well. So if you go full lethality, Hail of Blades, and do a combo of auto Q Profane without ghouls, that's a combo of over 2,000 damage in less than a second. You are literally an assassin now without even any ghouls, which was the main part of lethality Yorick anyways. Profane Hydra has already made lethality Yorick in the current season a lot more consistent compared to any other season. And now that you have Hail Blades, it straight up turns him to a champion that doesn't even need the ghouls. That's just the fucking DLC. Okay, now that I've complimented Hail Blades and how I think it's such a powerful rune, I still think Conqueror is still the best in a consistent manner, especially if you go Bruiser Yorick. Bruiser Yorick still wants the extra AD and healing, and Hail Blaze can work very well with Bruiser Yorick, but in longer fights, Conqueror definitely stands on top. It just so goes that Hail Blaze works so well with the Lethality Yorick and synergizes perfectly with its game plan of just being an assassin murderer. Also, I just want to say thanks to the one guy that suggested Hail Blaze, and thanks to M Spectrum. Without other Yorick mains in the community, I wouldn't have figured this out as quick, and it's great that we can all share and try out different things and become better players because of it. Now, of course, me being the savant that I am, I run a different setup to M Spectrum. He runs Inspiration Secondary with Approach Velocity and Biscuits, while I run Demolish Bone Plating. I haven't talked to him about the setups, but I can explain them in detail as it may seem confusing. Approach Velocity and Biscuits are perfect for Yorick. Biscuits make it so that you never run out of mana in laning phase, and throughout the game, you will not have as much mana issues. Approach Velocity synergizes really well with Yorick E because it slows the enemy and already increases your movement speed. So you combine your increased movement speed from the E and that 15% MS from Approach Velocity, and now nobody can run away from you, not even ranged champions. This works really well throughout the game so that you can just stick on people and have good mana sustain in laning phase as well with the Biscuits. It makes sense. Now my Demolish Bone Plating setup is a lot more about winning laning phase, with the Bone Plating for safety and all-ins, while Demolish gives me the snowball potential with plates, which is one of the main ways I think Yorick should snowball with. But the final tree in domination is where it's very dependent on the player, with that being Ultimate, Ingenious, or Treasure Hunter. M Spectrum runs Ingenious Hunter, works well with a lot of the Bruiser items, Eclipse, Sunlit Skies, Stratbreaker, Triforce. They all get decreased cooldown and it works across all the other actives and passives you might buy as well. The Lethality Yorick though, you only have one active, and that's the Profane Hydra. And yeah, getting that cooldown lower is nice, but it's not that much value, and you'd much rather have gold from Treasure Hunter, which can just snowball you even further and get more items to become stronger, or Ultimate Hunter to have lower downtime in your ult, keep it up longer, you know? They're all really strong options in their own regards, and knowing their strengths is pretty important if you want to select your playstyle. But if you're unsure, join my Discord in the description. Other people can help you out and suggest some ideas. There's a lot of Yorick talk every single day. And also you can just go Ultimate Hunter, because why the fuck would you not want ult up more often, you moron? With that being said, here's the Hail Blade page again that I run, and the build, try it out, it's pretty damn strong. Now, let's actually finally talk about the patch 14.4 changes with Yorick. Again, like I said, there's been no Yorick nerfs, which I'm surprised about, but there are actually buffs. Shojin was a really good item on Yorick before, and it still is really good, one of his best items, but it now stacks instantly off your ghouls in an E. Wow, just 12% spell damage for free? I don't even know why they're doing this change, it seems honestly way too overpowered, but hey, I ain't gonna complain, Shojin has just gone up even stronger somehow. Ravenous also got a big buff of its active this patch, which is really cool, and I'm actually gonna test it this next week and so, just to test around the lifesteal build, and I think it'll be pretty decent. Cleaver also got big buffs. Instead of its 6 stacks, it's now only 5 stacks, but you get more % armor cleave, which makes it overall better. It's going from 24% armor cleave to 25%. A lot faster to stack up, and a lot more damage. The final change that they did to Yorick related stuff is they bug fixed Smolder E so that it can actually fly over Yorick W now. Last patch for some reason Smolder couldn't make it over the damn wall, which makes it so that it was a really easy matchup. And this will make the matchup a little bit easier, but like if you're losing to Smolder as Yorick on the side lane, I mean, have you tried not sucking? They also buffed and nerfed quite a few top laners. Finally, Fiora got a nerf. Holy hell, I don't know why it took them so long, maybe 6 years, but Fiora got a nerf and it's a W. It's a great nerf. I'm still banning that piece of shit. I hate that champion. I think she's the worst design champion in the game, but you know, let's just stop. Renekton got a buff. Okay, a bit weird. He hasn't been meta for 2 weeks, so now we're just buffing him, I guess. I don't know about that, right? But sure. Let's see the next changes. K'Sante buffs.